Oh, oh my God! This team. Um, another good half. I thought they were like solidly very good in the first half. There was nothing about them that was particularly outstanding, other than the fact that they just did the basics of pretty much everything really well. You look at how they built up; they were direct, but it was working. So, I mean, Colin Kazim-Richards was brilliant all day, but particularly in the first half where he dropped deep, he'd hold the ball up, and he had runners going beyond him, and he was able to play the ball in smartly. Duane Holmes was a particular benefactor of that. They look like they've been playing together for a long time. Um, Defensively, the screen of Evans and Shinnie defensively in the first half was very, very good. I don't really remember a time when Davis and Matt Clark were exposed. And that is a credit to the screen in front of them that protected them. So yeah, I thought they were good in the first half. But the second half, there were problems. Well, okay, the second half there were problems after the sort of 67th minute and beyond. But for the first 10 minutes, I thought they kind of rode the storm pretty well. And actually, they could and probably should have gone 2-0 up. Matt Clark has two good headers from corners. And for me, he's got to put one of them away because they were almost carbon copies. He has a free run at them. He gets a big leap on them. First one, he puts wide and he's got to get it on target. The second one, he does get on target. It's a really good save. And Craig Forsyth can't get the rebound in. And they had a couple like that because in the first half, I think it was a Matt Clark that headed back across goal, and George Evans was the one that time that headed in it, and it didn't quite go in. And the introduction of Akinfenwa for Wycombe was a big difference, and it was always going to be because he was always going to get some minutes. How they dealt with him was they didn't. In a word, they didn't deal with him. They didn't deal with him well at all. It was a good battle, but as the game wore on, and obviously Akinfenwa would come on at half time, as the game wore on, Davis and Clark and Wisdom, they were getting tired. They were getting beat up by him out there. And he was kind of just having his way with them at the end. He was kind of picking them apart. He was pretty much able to do whatever he wanted, drop deep, chest the ball, spinning. And there were times when he had a lot of space around him. And I don't know how you can leave that guy with a lot of space around him because he's a big guy and he actually has pretty good movement for his size, but he's not someone I would expect to have 4-5 yards of space around him all the time. And if he is getting that, then that's a problem. Yeah, I don't really agree with that, to be honest, Stefan. I mean, criminal not starting Knight. What would Knight have done that I know Duane or Evans didn't do? The thing is, if you play Knight and Shinnie, they're basically the same player. Maybe you play Knight instead of Shinnie, but you need someone with a good ball distribution technique to find the guys in front of them. So, I don't really agree with that personally. Derby created 3 big chances this evening. Now, I don't know what Opta terms as a big chance. I'm guessing it's kind of maybe when you go one-on-one with a goalkeeper or something like that. But they had 3 big chances this evening. They only created 5 such chances all season up until that point. Like that's a positive. They are at least creating genuine chances, not like, that was a half chance. Maybe if you do that. Like they create genuine opportunities tonight. 7 sort of total chances, 3 of which Kazim-Richards created. I only remember Kazim-Richards losing 2 duels this evening. Opta has him down as winning 11 out of 16. That's still incredible for a forward. That's still really, really good. And the fact that when you saw... Let's talk about the change. Let's talk about the substitution. I don't agree with it. I certainly don't agree with it, like you bringing them both off. Rooney said that after the game, the reason that he made those changes were, for one, Colin Kazim-Richards' fitness, and for 2, he felt that midfield line was dropping too deep, which meant the defensive line was dropping too deep. But for me, like, they were the best players in the game. If it's a fitness thing, you maybe ask Colin, can you give me 10 more minutes? 10 more minutes gets you to 77 minutes. And at that point, you think, all right, 13 minutes, let's call it closer to 20 when you throw the injury time on top of it. But at that point, it was a very delicately balanced game, and Derby had just started to get a little bit of a footing in. And when he brings both off, it completely disrupts any of the rhythm that they had going forward. And they never really recovered from that. Jozwiak had a couple of bright moments, but struggled. Waghorn didn't get into the game at all. I just don't think that dual substitution really worked. Again, I agree. If it's a fitness thing, you can't play Kazim-Richards for the 90 minutes. But at 67 minutes, you maybe have to have a discussion and go, "Can you give me 10 more?" With Duane, it was more of a tactical thing. He said Holmes. He wanted Jozwiak basically to use his speed and keeping the width to press up, so they didn't drop deep. But I thought Holmes was okay in that area, and again, he was a better attacking threat, but. Maybe if without Kazim-Richards, he wouldn't have been, because just nothing stuck to Waghorn when he came on. And Waghorn doesn't look like he's playing with a lot of confidence at the moment, and I feel for him. There was a moment, 94th minute, the ball sits up for him, and it's a little bit awkward, but a striker, like a striker in form with confidence, just hits that first time, whether it be blocked or goes in or whatever, they just hit it, because that ball can go anywhere. And he tries to take it down and take a touch, and Rooney on the touchline just slaps his hands and he spins away and he throws his arms up, because that was a chance. He has to pull the trigger on that. And I think he's good. I really like Waghorn, but he just doesn't look like he's playing with a lot of confidence right now. I know a few people kind of complained that like it was Wickham. We couldn't even beat Wickham and this, but I'm going to be brutally honest here. You do not get to be snobby when you're bottom of the league. You just don't. Like, Wickham have lost 1 in 7 now. Derby are winless in 9, 10. Like, you just don't get to be snobby when you're bottom. Like, yes, it's disappointing to not win at home. Yes, it's disappointing when you look at it to think we can't beat Wickham at home, but Wickham have been a better team than Derby, so you can't be snobby about that. And they proved that they're a decent outfit. They changed it up personnel-wise, and they proved that they were a decent outfit. I know it's frustrating, and the aspirations are higher than getting a point against Wickham, but they did play some pretty good football, particularly in the first half. They didn't get beat. Another home game against Coventry. If they win against Coventry, 4 points. 4 points is like the bare minimum, so it's kind of a blue check mark in those. You get 4 points from your 2 home games. But I understand the frustration. You want to aim higher than just beating Wigan, but in the current situation, you can't be snobby. Like, they're above this year. They're so far across 13 games, they're above Derby. I will take your questions now. I have been seeing them, but I will take them now. Let's have a scroll and a look-see. Do you think it's bad for Steve McClaren to come in at half-time when it's supposed... Yeah, Luke, thank you for the question. I did think that was a bit weird. It was like, he came in at half-time. Now, I suspect, and I've got no information regarding this. This is my personal opinion, and just a suspicion, that essentially they're going to be working out as like Rooney manager, and McClaren is essentially his assistant manager. And again, Rooney did say he would be leaning on McClaren's influence. Now, if that's a case of McClaren just suggesting things and then Rooney saying ultimately, right, I'm doing this, that's different to if McClaren's going, right, we're doing this, and Rooney wants to go in a different direction. So I think next press conference we'll need a little more clarity on what was going on in the dressing room. How does he fit in all of this? Because it's what, because that him going in the dressing room changes the dynamic. Ryan, one of my friends from work is good friends with 2 of the under-20s who've been both said that Eddie Howe is likely to be the next boss. Yeah, Lewis, I'm not so sure how true that is, because my information is he's not. But this is football, so who knows? But right now, my understanding is no, he's not. Desperately need I play next time. Yeah, I think the thing is, Stefan, is without Jozwiak, they look a little bit one-paced at times. Now, today was better because Kazim-Richards was able to drop deep, runners go beyond him, and he's able to pick the ball up, spin and stuff like that. But yeah, a little bit of creativity out wide would have helped. And I also think if you've got the option of Hyde, it means you can take off Lawrence, who looked a bit tired. He got a little bit of stick today with Lawrence, but I actually thought he did really well. Yesterday, he was not yesterday, Middlesbrough game, last game, he was at fault for the third goal, I think it is, one of the goals. today he was good. He plays his part in the goal. You know, he squares the defender up and then plays it off to Kazim-Richards down the right. He could have had one, maybe two assists. Them corners were gorgeous today. He had one that was pants, but the other two were really good. And he was generally okay, but he looked a bit tired towards the end and got a bit pants towards the end. And that's when you want Ibe, another winger in that form, to come on and who can move about a bit and get you up the pitch. What else have we got here? What else? Do you think there will be a new manager in place for next Saturday then? Next Saturday. Who have they got next Saturday? Is that the Millwall game? No, but I don't think it'll be that far after, just because if Rooney is saying the takeover is 24 to 48 hours away, then that means you get this game, give Rooney this next game, Coventry, you get the Millwall game out the way. Maybe a new guy is lined up for Brentford away, which I believe is the next game. Maybe that's the case. So I think we are edging closer, though. I think we are edging closer. Sorry, someone asked me who I thought best player derby for you today, Ryan. Charlie Lowe. Charlie, it was Colin Kazim-Richards. By quite well, Colin Kazim-Richards and Duane Holmes, because they kind of worked in tandem, and then it was everybody else. They were brilliant. And I think the drop-off, and again, I tweeted this, it might sound like jumping to conclusions, but it's kind of the simplest and most obvious explanation. Derby created maybe one chance after they went off, and that was it. They did nothing without it. And yeah, Kazim-Richards not only what he did on the ball, because he held the ball up, he brought players in, his passing was really, really good. He made not only the weight of the pass, but he made the right decisions with the ball as well. But his leadership was top quality at a time when this team needs it. This team needs that kind of leadership. So he was always talking. And I didn't want it to sound like I was making a big deal out of it, but it was kind of a big deal because I'd not seen or heard that a lot from Derby across the season. A lot of talking, a lot of encouraging. Even when he went off, he was still doing it. So yeah, him for me was, and obviously he had a goal that was ruled out for offside as well, which I think I saw back again. And it was kind of like marginal, which means but he was off. So yeah, I think that was I think he was the best player. Him and Holmes have to start against Coventry. If you don't, then you undo the building block that you've set up here. You could take all the positives you want from it. You've made Rooney made 7 changes today. I think if you tinker with that more, you undo it. So if you want to tinker elsewhere, fine. Holmes and Kazim-Richards have to start for me. Absolutely nailed on. First names on the team sheet, put them in ink, not even in pencil. Let's see, what else? Do you think the takeover will be done by Monday? Look, days away is days away. Now, I know that's 24, 48, 24, 4, but days away is 24, 48. That's the hope. But these things, I could say that, and then it could be 3 days, and then you all come at me and tell me I'm a dick. But that's my understanding is 48. Within that time frame. So we said after Borough, then I said 2 interviews. I don't know. Alan Nixon blocked me and has been a dick to me ever since. For something he accused me of something that I never did. So I don't know nothing about Alan Nixon, man. Any chance to what else have we got? You see, Jordan Ibe transforms the team instantly is a massive, massive call because you don't know that. You have no idea about that. He's not played football consistently for 2 years. You don't know he transforms the team instantly. And if you're basing it off what he did last time he was at Derby, that's a bit of a baseless opinion because Derby aren't the same team anymore and he isn't the same player anymore. Now, he's exciting and what we've seen of him, the 45 minutes we've seen him in the under-23s, he's very good. But that's the under-23s. That step up is massive. It's a lot of pressure to say he changes the team because he might suck. He's exciting. He's got all the tools. Of course he is. But he might suck. So we have to wait with Jordan. Same with Bobby Duncan. The same with Colin Kazim-Richards. I don't think many people were enthused by Colin starting today. And he was really good. We just have to see. Because you don't know. You don't know what you're going to get. I know a lot of you were quite enthused by him starting and thought he should have started. But there were a few that were quite fuck's sake. But come on. What do you see as our best formation, Ryan? I like the 3-4. 3-4-3. Yeah, the 3-4-3 is good if you've got forwards, I think, that can move a bit more freely and are a bit more mobile. So the 3-4-3 worked a lot towards the end of Cockey's reign because he was using Wagon, Jozwiak and Lawrence, who could rotate quite easily. So it's dependent. The 4-3-3 or the 4-2-3-1, however you want to put that, works better if you've got a proper 9 in there. Chris Martin, Colin Kazim-Richards. If you've got a guy that can stand up there, make the ball stick, that's when it works much better. So for me, it generally depends who you build, what striker you want to build out from. And right now, that striker should be, after those 67 minutes, and of how Wagon is seemingly playing right now, it's pretty poor from him. You play Colin and you build around that, so it's the 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, and have runners go beyond him. Dursun would also fit in a 4-3-3 as well. Big target man, holds the ball up well. So yeah. What's your favourite egg mayo? I prefer mine with caramel shit. With camel shit. Thoughts on Evans today? Honestly, and I'll pick these up as two, Chris and Daniel Rose. I thought Evans was good. I thought as a distributor, he's okay. I think Bielik is better. And I think once Bielik is up to speed, I think Bielik will come in there and play alongside one of Shinnie or Knight. But I think as a duo, they complement each other really, really well. And I think this is what the team missed when they played Bird and Rooney, is they were kind of basically the same player. And it doesn't really offer a mix and match dynamic. Because Shinnie was really up and down and he would press high. And when he did press up high, Evans would tend to drop. And Shinnie really bites at your ankles and tries to win that ball high up. And I think Evans is generally... It is generally pretty good for sweeping up as well, and a good distributor. I think it's hard to say which played better. If you're going to press me, I'm going to say maybe Shinnie. I thought he had a bit more influence going forward in terms of pressing and winning the ball high up the pitch, but I thought they were both pretty good. My understanding is that right now, as Mel Morris owns the football club right now, my understanding is they want to go back in for Dursun in January. His price will be a lot lower in January. They want to go back in for him. The player wants to come. However, there is going to be a change of ownership. That might change the targets. But right now, as we speak, right here and now, yeah, they want him. They still want him. And he still wants to come to the club. I like Davis, but baffles me how incapable he is of actually playing. I mean, yeah, like he's what you'd call a natural centre back. Like he isn't going to pass the ball that well. And this is the idea of having a team around him. It accentuates his strengths and hides his weaknesses. That's why you put Matt Clark in there. That's why you put someone like George Evans in there. Christian Bielik, when he's ready to come back, you put him in there. You know, he put his head and face in front of everything. You can't have it both ways. You can't want him to be, you know, very few centre-backs in world football are excellent at it, pretty much everything. You know, Davis is what he is, and he put his head in there a lot, and he battled a lot, and fair play to that. If we go down, how many of the team would you leave, do you reckon? Jonty. That's such a... all right, yeah. How many of the team would you leave? I'll tell you what, it's easy to tell you how many would stay. I think it's the 7 contracted through 2 years' time. So that would be, what is it? Whitaker, Knight, Bird, Sibley. There's a couple of others contracted through 2 years. Buchanan is another one, and there's 2 more. Basically, that lot. And then after that, who knows? Because a lot of them are on big wages as well. So who knows? Davis, maybe. Davis, if you could get him, maybe. Bielik, I don't think Bielik would want to play in League One. I don't think Jozwiak would want to play in League One. Jozwiak left Poland because he wanted to play in a higher league. But Bielik is one, but I think you'd have to sell him because I imagine at 8 million, I also imagine he's on pretty big money. And he's also one of the assets. If the club, if there are a lot of games to play at, if the club were to go down, he's one of the assets that would get big money for. So maybe you have to flip him. So who knows? Maybe Marshall as well. Maybe because he's shown that he can play at very good championship level. So maybe him too. So there'd have to be a conversation. But also, you know, Marshall could have stayed at League One level and taken a lot of pay cut to stay at Wigan, and he didn't want to do that. You know, he wanted to play at a higher level. So I mean, I guess that throws in Nathan Byrne as well. So we'll see. But look, there's loads of games to go yet. Loads and loads and loads of games to go yet. They just have to start picking up. They need to start converting these chances into goals and then second goals and then killing games off. Kill the game off before the opposition even had a chance. Look, yeah, like I always say now, and I didn't always used to say, but I say it now because Steve Nicholson always tells me of his years of experience that, look, you want to see where you are at Christmas and New Year, like that week of like Boxing Day to New Year, or the 2nd of January. Where you are then is pretty much give sort of 3 or 4 places. That's pretty much where you're going to be all season. If Derby are bottom at Christmas, yeah, it's going to be grim. And that's when I think seriously we have to look at this team getting relegated. But there are 7 games between now. Because if they're like a point out of the relegation zone or something like that, that's when you go like, yeah, all right. So yeah, Durson's been pretty good, man. Durson's been pretty good. Look, 20 minutes. I'm going to wrap this up, guys. Hang on. Why aren't the club talking to Paul Cook? I don't know that the club aren't talking to Paul Cook. So yeah, the reason that the managerial hunt is seemingly never ending is because the new ownership want to make that decision. And while they're not the owners right now, and while nothing is official right now, they can't make that decision yet. They don't know what kind of, what they're playing with right now in terms of the budget for the manager and all that sort of stuff. So right now it's Wayne Rooney until that takeover happens. And I imagine the dominoes will fall, takeover happens, and then in a couple of days after that, a manager is named. Be that Rooney or any other manager, a manager is named. So yeah, that is that's kind of why I think this managerial hunt is dragging on. Right, guys, I am off. And yes, you all enjoy your Saturday evening, enjoy your Sunday. And if you're an NFL fan, I hope your team wins, unless you're a Bears fan, because Bears suck and they play my Packers. And yeah, be good to each other, be kind. We move on. And Wednesday, all right, yeah, Wednesday, I guess. So we'll do another one of these in a few days, hopefully after a win. But yeah, here's to you guys. Cheers. Take care.